Good morning, beloveds. I got up a half an hour early today and we did a virtual 5K, which is not as fun as it sounds, because it means we still ran the 3.1 miles, but there wasn't all the fun of, fellow runners and the after party and the chocolate. Although, this was the hot chocolate run, and I wanted to do it for a couple of reasons. One, their charity, because all of the runs donate a portion of their proceeds to a charity of some kind or another. The hot chocolate is sponsored by Allstate, and their charity is Make-A-Wish. So I wanted to do it for that reason, because one, it's a good charity, and two, they have a legacy program, and if you run it 3 years in a row, you get a reward, and if you run it 5 years in a row, you get a reward, and if you run it 10 years in a row, you get a reward. Well, last year was our third year, so we got that reward, and I was like, I'm not missing this year. So at some point today or tomorrow, I have to figure out how to upload my results so that we prove that we actually ran it, because it's in our records that we've run it 3 years. And last year we got a special medal, a bronze medal. It was a coffee cup or hot chocolate cup, and an extra chocolate bar, and a coffee cup, an actual coffee cup, which I have not used for anything, but it was cool. So I'm looking forward to the 5-year one, which will be next year, and hopefully we can actually run it. And it seems inevitably that the hot chocolate run is on the the end of January, the very beginning of February, and it's always hot. Like, it was 60 degrees today. So I ran one loop with my jacket, and the second loop I ran without my jacket because I got hot. And the park we were running in, they also play soccer, and so there were, just after we got there, because we got there right around 7 o'clock this morning, there were suddenly parents everywhere and kids playing soccer, and we were just like, oh. So we ran the 2 loops, and then we did one last walk loop, partly to walk it off, always a good thing, and then partly because but there weren't a lot of squirrels, and I think that was because of the weather. So that's how my Saturday has started. Let's see if I'm going to be useful for anything else for the rest of the day. But it is January 30th, and our title is I Surrender All Fear and Doubt. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And this is Luke 12:32. We should always keep in mind that we are beneficiaries of life. We do not put the chicken in the egg, nor the oak in the acorn. Rather, we take them out. We did not create the divine presence, nor the law of good. We commune with this presence and use this law. Therefore, Jesus said, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. It is our business to receive it. And in doing this, we follow the same method that any scientist would, for the scientist knows that he did not create the laws that he uses or the principles that he employs. It is my Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Today, I accept this kingdom. I accept it in its fullness. Because of it, the day contains joy and happiness and is filled with peace. Running through it all is the silent power of spiritual wisdom and love, harmoniously and happily governing my thoughts, decisions, and acceptance so that everything I do is done with ease. I lay all weariness aside and accept the life-giving, invigorating, dynamic activity of spirit, knowing that it vitalizes every organ of my body. It flows with power and strength and purpose through everything I do as it leads me gently down the pathways of life. Today is the day that God has made, and I am glad in it. And when evening comes, the cool shadows of peace will fall across my pathway, and the quiet of night will enter into my soul, while the beatitude of the Spirit flows through me as a river of life. We need to discuss with Ernest periods. He is the master of a run-on sentence. Okay. I feel brain dead today. I don't know. Okay. We have one more day. Oh, wow. One more day in January. So, and remember that January was the month of beginnings. And so he is ending, like yesterday was all things are made whole. Today is I surrender all fear and doubt. And tomorrow is my thoughts establish new beginnings. So I surrender all fear and doubt. And why do I surrender all fear and doubt? Because fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And that's from Luke. And what it reminds me of is the story of the prodigal son. Where in both sons didn't realize what they had. Because when the one son came to the father and said, "Give me my inheritance," the father said, "Yes." And he ran off and, wasted it. And then came back, and he came back wanting to be a servant in his father's house because the servants were treated better than he was living. And his father said, "No, come back into my household as my son." And that really is the way Spirit treats us. If we run off and I use the word waste, our gifts and our talents and what have you, when we come back to who we are and realize that we're children of God, there is no judgment. Spirit immediately opens up its arms and says, "Yes, come back to me. Use the gifts and the talents that I have given you." But then there's the second part of that story where the son who was there is like, "Wait a minute. I've been here loyally serving you all these times." And the father was like, "You never asked." It's like, all of this has been yours the whole time, but you never asked. You never accepted what was yours. You didn't accept it when your brother left. You didn't accept it, and now you're mad. It's like, that's not how this works. It's like, I will always give you everything. You just have to accept it. You have to, I say the word ask. You don't even have to ask for it. You just have to be willing to accept it. And both of these young men were like unaware of the life that they could have been living because they weren't fully open to accepting what was. So, we should always keep in mind that we are beneficiaries of life. Yes. It is always open to us. The question becomes, are we open to it? We do not put the chicken in the egg, nor the oak in the acorn. He had to have been reading poetry when he wrote that line. Rather, we take them out. So we don't have to create the magnificence of life. We just have to live it through and let it live through us. We do not create the divine presence nor the law of God. Good. The law of good. I forget that second O. We commune with this presence and use this law. We didn't create it, but we do use it. And that's it. We use it. And if we're not using it, why not? Because we're not aware of it, because we don't think we're worthy. Why aren't we using it? Why aren't we using it? Therefore, Jesus said that it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And that's science of mind. Life wants you to flourish. Life wants you to be happy. Life wants you to be creative. So life will provide what you need to do this. The question becomes, are we willing to accept it? And yes, there is the whole factor of in relationship and this, that, and the other thing, and we've got work to do. because we keep getting in our own way. And when I say we, I don't necessarily mean just you personally. You, yes, to some degree you are getting in your own way. And then to some degree, society is getting in our way. I mean, as a woman, you know, I have society and religion and culture and all of this telling me what I should look like and how much I should weigh and all this other thing that has no bearing on who I really am. And at some point I have to say, yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna walk my own path. And spirit will respond to that. Spirit will respond to me trying not to fit into all of these rules. And I'll get a lot further. Now, there are manners. You know, there are manners. There are manners of living in a good society. But then there's a whole lot of things in a society we can let go of. So, it is our business to receive it. It is our business to receive it. And in doing this, we follow the same method that any scientist would. For a scientist knows he didn't create the laws that he uses or the principles that he employs. We reveal them. We didn't create them, we reveal them. We reveal them and we use them. And that's why we're science of mind. Because we know we didn't create it, but we do use it. It is my Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Or it is my mother's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Or my favorite aunt. Or spirit. It is spirit's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Whatever word makes you feel the most comfortable, please use it. Please substitute it. I will remind you that Ernest was writing between 1927 and 1969. Language has changed, as have we. So feel free to substitute words. Please feel free to substitute words. We are open at the top for a reason. Today, I accept this kingdom, and I accept it in its fullness. I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not going to limit spirit. I'm not going to limit God. Because of it, the day contains joy and happiness and is filled with peace. And really, honestly, when you let go of your limits, you find it. You find peace. Yeah. When you stop limiting spirit, you will find that sense of peace. Running through it all is the silent power of spiritual wisdom and love, harmoniously and happily governing my thoughts, decisions, and acceptances so that everything I do is done with ease. Spiritual wisdom and love. Governing my thoughts and decisions. And man, if we could make every decision, and have every thought, and our acceptances, I like how he says acceptances, with spiritual wisdom and love, the world would be a better place. The world would truly be a better place. We're getting there. We're working on it. It's like, God grant me the serenity to change the people that need it and the wisdom to know that the people that need it are me. You know, the only person I can change is me. And then when I change me and become that island of peace and calm, it changes the environment around me, and that will change the people around me. They will respond to me differently because I am responding to them differently. And that's the big thing. It's when you can respond instead of react. All right. I lay all weariness aside and accept the life-giving, invigorating, dynamic activity of spirit. Life-giving, invigorating, dynamic activity of spirit. You want to get something done? Say that to yourself in the morning. Accept the life-giving, invigorating, dynamic activity of spirit. Knowing that it vitalizes every organ of my body. It flows with power and strength and purpose through everything I do, as it leads me gently down the pathway of life. Now, he's talking power and purpose, and then he says gently, because we are not going to be blown around by the winds of fate. When we accept that we are the children of spirit, when we accept that divine wisdom and that spiritual wisdom and that spiritual love, then we will walk our path with purpose and power, but gently. I think it's Thich Nhat Hanh who says that when we walk upon the earth, it should be as if our feet were kissing the earth, but we're going to do it with power and purpose, gently. Spirit isn't going to blow us around. Spirit is going to wait for us to come to it and say, and then it's going to say, everything that I have is yours. Today is the day that God has made, and I am glad in it. In it. We didn't put the chicken in the egg. We didn't put the oak in the acorn. I am glad in this day. When the evening comes, the cool shadows of peace will fall across my pathways, and the quiet of night will enter into my soul, while the beatitude of spirit flows through me as a river of life. Well, I'm ready for a nap now. So our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to accept the kingdom in its fullness. To accept the kingdom in its fullness and surrender all the doubt and fear. Because there is no question of whether or not we are worthy. That's one of the reasons why we absolutely love the term that Jesse says, godlings. Like saplings. We're not that full-grown divine presence, but we are divine centers of activity within that. We are saplings. And the sap is flowing. And it's ever available. So I encourage you to open the windows of your soul and allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you live in the kingdom now. The kingdom is yours. That it's your job to accept it. So, all right. Please do something loving for yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Do something compassionate for yourself. Today mine was to run a 5K. And honestly, this is the first time since I got injured that I put the app on and marked my run, and I was scared too. I was afraid of how much I'd lost, and honestly, yeah, I'm not where I was, but I'm not as bad as I thought I was. So that was my loving, kind, and compassionate today. To take that metric and go, okay, this is what I've done and this is where I'm going. And it's really cool. So, especially since the app updated, now I can see that the fastest I ran in the 3 miles was 5.212. I probably did that for 30 seconds, but it was long enough for the app to catch it, so that was exciting. So please, loving, kind, and compassionate. The more loving and kind and compassionate you are with yourself, the more you will have to give away to others. And that's just the truth of the matter. So, I don't know that we're going to get any sun. We might get some rain, but it's supposed to get up to 70 today here. You might consider opening your windows and getting some fresh air. That fresh air will give you a fresh perspective. And if you do see the sun, please get a little sun on your face. Drink some water. Take care of yourself. All right, beloveds. Today, Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And then we will have a service for you at 11 a.m. and we will finish up the basics. And then we'll move into February. And I took a peek, and February, of course, is going to be the month of love. So that should be really interesting. All right, beloveds. Do what you need to do to make it a fantastic day. All right.